Well, I got my helper here today. She evidently wants to be on camera.
Yeah.
So what we're doing here is we're modifying, these are, I'll say 46 to 48 if I remember correctly, backing plates to fit the back of a Model A axle. So what you have to do, there's a few things you have to do. One is you have to trim about 1/8 of an inch off of here. We've probably in the video I might even throw that in there again. On the back of the brake drum here, sorry for the crappy lighting here, folks.
I'll grab the light.
You have to machine back of 1/8 of an inch approximately here. Yeah, it's chattering. I know I did it in a small lathe. I'm going to do a bigger lathe just to make it better, but this was just for trial. I'm going to probably still got to take about another 15 thou off of that. And then we run the brake lines. The issue gets to be, there's two issues. The one is, if Casey can get in here. Sorry for the crappy light.
Really?
But you see this little window in here. You got to cut the window to clear the spring perch. So that's done. When I'm done here, I'm either going to, I'll probably TIG weld just a little piece back in here to seal it back up. Then you have to take a little bit off your spring perch. It's funny, the shock perch, sorry. The other side I barely had to touch. This side I had to take a little bit more off. I'm not running the style of rear shock, so I should have just cut the damn things off to make life easier. And then the other issue gets to be the bleeder screws that come with it are too long. And there's nothing that's really readily available aftermarket. That's a brand new one, looks like shit anyways. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna shorten this down. These are like 1 3/16, I think. I'm gonna shorten them down to probably 15/16, and I should have enough room. I can also probably shorten this guy down a little bit. So that way then we'll have clearance right back in here behind the shock perch. And then what we did is we ran the brake line. We're gonna put,
There, yeah.
remember we drilled and tapped the holes for that. I went 1/4 28. I'll call them Adele clips, whatever you want to call them. I forget the proper name. I'm going to say hose, so essentially hose clamps. So that's that. And then the next thing to do after that is we got to figure out an e-brake cable. We're going to use the original e-brake cable on here. Have a puller in the front. And then, yeah, the only thing I got to do is now to find fittings up here. I think I've said this if you've watched other videos, is getting fussier. So what I'm going to do is I think we're going to stop here and I'll show you what I'm going to do for the next phase of this here for the actual lines up to the master cylinder. Okay, so then what I'm going to do is this line's going to go over here. The other one's going to be on the other side, come underneath the torque tube. And then what I'm going to do, everything's left long right now, is I'm going to run, I bought both to see how it's going to work. The earlier ones were shorter hoses, the longer ones were later. And then what I'm going to do is run a trailer T here. You can get them with quarter. This one's a 1/4 3/16. I just have an adapter in here just for mock-up purposes. And then I'm going to use the original clip to catch my guy in here. I'll come up with a bracket. I'll make a piece of like 3/16 by 1 steel. Come up with a bracket here. I'll put like a 90-degree twist. I don't know. Hopefully Casey can kind of see this. Maybe the light will help better there. And then that way, then I can put that down in there. That way, that'll hold that nice and rigid. And then I got to get my line back to my master cylinder here. Now, I did this years ago. Like this is 20-some years ago. That's a master cylinder. Same as like a 66 Ford or Mercury half-ton. Single pot. I am going to run a dual pot one, like a front and a back reservoir, just in case one ever fails. But to do that, I don't know if I have enough physical room in here, because this is all homemade. I don't know if Casey, how much you can zoom on and see. This is all, I made this when I started my apprenticeship years ago. And if Al the welder is watching, he welded that many, many years ago. But if worst comes to worst, I could probably mount it back here, I guess. Because then the issue gets to be with this now, is with the B transmission I have in here. Here's one of the mounts. I'm going to make some sort of tranny mount, and I've seen both styles. Some style come off of here, if not the old style tranny mount. So this might even be in the way. That's why I might kick it over here. But my goal is just to get the dang thing on the road this year. I'll worry about this at a later date. But it's always, one thing, it's not another. But anyways, back to the point of the fitting here is just I'm going to run a trailer T here. That way then that will work there. That way it'll be held in nice and solid. And then, yeah, as I said, that'll be the rear brake lines, and we'll get the front ones. There's our brake light switch. We have nowhere near to worry about that because it's integral to the master cylinder, which is nice. And then I should probably clean this up a little bit better, but whatever. But yeah, so it's... we'll get this side kind of hooked up, and then we'll get the other side to show what it kind of looks like. And yeah, if anyone cares to know, I'm just using copper nickel brake lines here. And yeah, just 1/4 inch, because everything's 1/4 inch on here, so I'm not going to go I mean, you can start playing with adapters and down to 3/16 and make it easier, but just hell, 1/4 inch. But yeah, so yeah, we'll get some more bolted on, then we'll bring you back. Okay, I'm just tightening up the last. Like I said, this is all just mock-up. This is all coming apart. I still got to put lock washers and everything else on it. But that way the line runs up here. Like I said, the T's going to be somewhere. I don't know if you can see kind of where my finger is. If you're up by Casey here, you see what we kind of did on the back here. Kind of a little bit of a goofy bend. I went with soft bends on this. I don't like hard bends. And that way we got enough clearance over the axle. Since everything's rigid, I get my fingers in here. I'm not going to put a support here. I like this here, back here. I'm happy with this. And then we're going to put the other side back on here, and that'll probably, this will be just kind of just more of a short kind of update clip video on how I'm doing this. I mean, there's probably a million ways to do it. Same thing with the backing plates. You can go read on the internet ad nauseum. Some guys say 15 degrees to cant it, and then the argument is forwards or backwards. Some guys run them upside down. I chose to go this way. But, so yeah, this is what we're doing. We'll go throw the other side on. And then I'm just waiting for my line to come in from Rock Auto, and then we can run that to the master cylinder. Like I said, little by little. The goal is to hopefully drive this thing on its own power on the block this year, right, Casey?
Yeah, by September.
By September, that's hopefully. Whether it happens or not, I don't know. I mean, the thing's only been apart since 2008, so one more year ain't gonna kill it, I guess. But yeah, so what I'm gonna do is gonna go put the other torque rod on right now, and then we'll show you how we're going to tee it up. Well, I'm kind of working blind here, folks. I have a light to put in here, I just haven't bothered to do it yet. Oh, there we go. Grab my nut driver. Get that guy tightened up. And then you'll see a very similar thing come up over here. That way it gives a spring. We're right by the shackle, so the car, when the rear end drops all the way, there should be clearance on the brake line, on everything. Tight in there. You might only hear me, you might not see me. We'll work our way over here. Now, like I said, we still gotta, it's kind of got bent a bit, but what we'll do, we gotta come. Or was the original plan to go under, Casey? We're going under or over? Maybe it was to go under.
Under.
Oops.
Because that's spinning.
Well, not that, but I guess, well, we can probably go over. It really doesn't matter.
I know.
But what we'll have to do, like I said, is we'll have to get them connected like this, because that way this one, we'll get this one. I got to think about this. I thought maybe we were going under the torque. Maybe I'll go over just for safety's sakes. We'll go up and over. The other line here we'll just have to flare, so it'll probably be somewhere in around here. Like I said, we'll have a bracket to come up. We'll have to probably go on the other side here, drill and tap a hole. It'll be a kind of a little bit of a twisted bracket, and then that'll get our rear brake line in. Like I said, I'll get the hose, I'll figure that out what to run here, and then yeah, that's kind of plumbing, and that's just kind of a quick short video of almost a filler, just about putting rear brake lines on a Model A. But yeah, it's nothing fancy, nothing fussy. Just we'll get that in, and unfortunately the lines will have to come off again because I do not have on the car brake line, so it's easier probably just to pull them back off again. But we'll get that done and get them lined up and get the front, and then we got to get them bled. Hopefully we got brakes, and then we got to get the e-brakes hooked up. But are we gonna call it a video there, Casey?
Yeah, it's almost lunchtime.
Okay, and I think the doggy's getting hungry wherever she got to.
Oh, my back hurts from being under here.
Yeah, work on the ground sucks. Right? He actually is kneeling on a kneeling pad, but I got my styrofoam over here. But working on the ground is not my idea of fun. But I think we're gonna call it a video there. And then, like I said, we'll have to figure this guy out to here. Make sure everything's clear. And then, yeah. We'll have brakes on this old thing again. Or rear brakes anyways. They had front brakes, so. So, Bailey says bye for now.
Yeah, I just gotta get up. Oh. There's so much to do.
Oh yeah, it never ends on this car, does it? Cheaper to buy them finished, folks, I'll tell you that much. But anyways, that's her, Casey.
Yeah. All right.